Do we need a S25 Edge? That's the question I want to talk about today because there's been a lot of leaks, a lot of rumors, a lot of news and indicators pointing to it's probably going to get announced around May the 13th. So effectively, that's 2 weeks away from now. So we could be sitting here with this latest generation of phones, and it's like this arms race has been started between Samsung and Apple to see who can come up with the thinnest flagship-esque level phone possible. I have more faith in Samsung. um, yeah, I have more faith in Samsung than I do in Apple because Samsung typically gives you more for what you pay for than Apple. Apple will try and give you less. They'll be like, oh, well, we made this phone thinner, but to do it, we had to do an LCD screen. Or we made this phone thinner, but what we had to do is, you get one camera instead of two. So I have more faith that Samsung will pull it off in a better way. But still, the question has to be asked, do we need these phones? What is the purpose of these phones? Because reportedly the S25 Edge is going to be 5.8 millimeters. Just to put that into context, the S25 is 7.2 and the S25 Ultra is 8.2. So we're talking about almost 3 full millimeters thinner than the Ultra and almost 2 thinner than the regular S25. But what are what's the advantages to this? It's thinner. And reportedly, it's only going to have like a 3,900 milliamp battery, maybe something about like that. I mean, hello, we have something like that already in the S25, and it is a smaller phone, so the battery life does last a bit better. It's 1080p, doesn't have Quad HD Plus, which maybe helps out a little bit. But by and by, for a phone that's going to be the size of this one with the larger screen on it, 200 megapixel camera, Snapdragon 8 Elite processor, yes, it's cool that it will be reportedly 5.8 millimeters. However, will it last all day? Or are we going to sacrifice? I mean, I'm assuming they're going to give it 7 years of support. What's a big phone like that? I mean, big is like screen size, not as far as the thickness of the phone. But what's the applicability of a phone that's supported for foreseeably 7 years with 1,000, 1,100 less milliamps than this guy right here? Because already it's a concern when you look at any phone and go, okay, how will this phone hold up 7 years? And I mean, we've taken a look at Samsung phones in the past. They're not the best whenever it comes to batteries for years and years and years. That's any smartphone, really. There's a lot of them. You see videos, you see pictures, images, and things like that where the batteries start to bloat. Typically, though, from my experience and what I've seen, it's ones that don't get used. I don't know why it is. It seems like they're fine. You put it in the drawer, you come back 2 years later, and then the battery is messed up. So I don't know that it's necessarily the battery as it is something to do with inactive use. I don't know. But yeah, this is the next generation, or at least it's what Samsung and Apple would have us believe is the next generation. And I think there's more applicability for Samsung just because I feel like there's a piece of the pie that's been missing for them ever since they sold their identity out with the S series and turned it into the Note. Yes, this is the S25 Ultra, but make no mistakes, this is the Note. They got rid of the Note in the fall because they started putting out the foldable phones late summer, early fall. And then they just kind of consolidated and said, you know what, we'll call it the S series, but it's just going to be the Note, right? So there are people who don't care for the stylus. There are people who don't care for the boxy design. There are people who don't care for the heftiness. There are people who don't care for the phone in general. They just want something else, but they don't want the Plus. The Plus has always been seen as like, I'll go ahead and get the Plus. And it's not the Ultra, but it's like, okay, well, do you really want 3 or 4 year old cameras? I mean, they're perfectly serviceable. They take good photos, but for the money, you should have better cutting edge technology, right? So I think that this Edge might kind of bring a little bit of that back to people who feel like they've been disenfranchised and just don't want the Note or feel like they have to buy the Note. So it's probably pretty obvious at this point. It seems like it's going to have a 200 megapixel camera and it's going to have 2 cameras. I mean, I've seen the phone in real life. Whenever I was at the S25 launch event, they had kind of like it's probably like a shell of one. I mean, you couldn't touch it. It was just hanging there. They did the same thing for Mobile World Congress 2 months later. And we know what it looks like. I mean, it's not going to be a surprise when it shows up with 2 cameras. So is it worth paying around 1,000, maybe 1,099, 1,050 bucks to get a better camera, to get that 200 megapixel camera, to have that kind of ultra-esque feel again, but something that's slimmer, is more svelte, is lighter? Because the other thing is, it's probably going to be about 150 grams, which would be super light. I mean, we're talking it should have titanium bezels, titanium around the sides, body. I mean, it's going to be lighter. It's going to be lighter. It's going to be thinner, and it's going to be something that definitely stands out. But I wonder how much translation there will be between phone being cool and people liking it, and people going out and buying it, especially with the way the economy is right now. So many question marks up in the air with tariffs and everything else. Who knows what the final price is going to be? And I'm not going to speculate. I don't follow this stuff too closely, but every day it's tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. And I make a video, and comments. Somebody's talking about tariffs, even though I don't want to. And it's not that I view it as a political thing. It's just, I get tired of hearing about it. It's everywhere for the last month and a half. So, yeah, will people buy it? That's a good question. I mean, is this the next thing? And we've seen Samsung do stuff like this before. I remember when they came out with the Note Edge years ago, and it was the Note, but it had that curve, like that slanted edge on the side, and I love that sucker. Like, I really enjoyed that phone. It was a cool phone that I really enjoyed using. Did everybody want it? No. Do they have to sell 10 million of them? No. So I think maybe this might be, okay, one, they want to beat Apple. This would obviously get out there early. They're doing the same thing Motoro's doing to them. Motorola just announced the new Razr phones a few days ago. They're undercutting Samsung by at least 2 months with their phone deployment. So Samsung, I think they feel, okay, if Apple feels like this is an untouched market and Samsung feels like this is an untouched market, of course, get out there first. Be like Cobra Kai, strike hard, strike fast, no mercy. Get out there, sell the thing, give as good, and this is going to be key. This is going to be key. Pre-order deals. How good will they be? What will the trade-in be? How much will they give you? If they're basically giving these things away for free, if you trade in your and here, just before you get your feelings hurt, be prepared. Likely they will not let you trade in your S25 Ultra. That's just how these things work. If a phone just came out a few months ago, it's almost never the case that they will let you trade it in. So don't be pissed off if you go and you're like, man, I want to get rid of my S25 Ultra. I want this. I don't care about the S Pen. Damn the torpedoes. Full speed ahead. I want this thin phone. Don't be surprised if you can't trade in your S25 Ultra. Telling you this now. But if they have insane trade-in deals, if they just have, okay, I can't deny this, I got to get one of these phones at this price, it's a no-brainer, like they've done with the Flip in the past. Remember, not last year with the Z Flip 6, but the Z Flip 5 and the Z Flip 4, you could trade in the previous Z Flip 3 or Z Flip 4 and get the new one for $50 to $100. That's like a brain dead thing. Like, yeah, no brainer. You got to do it because especially with new technology like that or foldable screens, if you're worried about it, you're basically renewing the lease of life on your phone for another year for like $50. So that's going to be key. The sales, pre-orders, trade-in deals, incentives, they've got to make these things move like hotcakes at McDonald's on a Sunday morning before church. If these things are priced to move, then I think it could work. And I do think that it does fill a little bit of a void because I always liked the S series. I would get the S series and then I would trade it in every year when I would get the Note. But I like the S series without the S Pen. I think it's has its own identity. And I feel like by taking the Note and turning it into the S series Ultra phone, I think they've lost some of their identity. And I think that this Edge may be a way, use some of the old nomenclature. When we had the S6 Edge, the S7 Edge, it was cool. It was cutting edge, pun intended. But yeah, I think that some of that identity has been lost along the way with them basically just going all in on, look, we're just going to give people the Note. So we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. I will do my best to get my hands on one. And I like the new stuff. I'm good, bad, or indifferent. I'm always buying this crap. So we'll see what happens. Maybe the guys over at Samsung will be kind enough to send me one. But we'll see what happens. And I'll have more information later. But yeah, that's all I got. Let me know what you think. Do you think we need the phone? If it's priced right, would you be willing to get one? If the trade-in deals are just too good to deny, would you be interested in getting one? Or do you think that it's just a lost cause all the way around? Let's talk about it. So if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching. And I'll see you guys next time.